हो, तुम क्या हो, तुम क्या हो, तुम क्या हो। सांस को अब नाए ध्यानी बन जाए, सांस को अब नाए ध्यानी बन जाए। सांस को अब नाए ध्यानी बन जाए, सांस को अब नाए ध्यानी बन जाए। तुझ में मुझ में क्या अंतर है, पशु पक्षी भी जीव है। तुझ में क्या अंतर है, पशु पक्षी भी जीव है। जीने का हक सबको है, हम सब सारे एक है। ध्यान कर शाकाहारी बन, आत्मज्ञानी बन, खुद को जानो तुम क्या हो, पहचानो तुम क्या हो, तुम क्या हो, तुम क्या हो, तुम क्या हो। ध्यानी बन जाए, बन जाए, बन जाए, बन जाए। ध्यानी बन सांस को अब नाए ध्यानी बन जाए।
Good morning, Masters. Thank you all for taking time to join. And welcome to day 17 for the power of now. So we are currently doing chapter 8. It talks about enlightened relationships. Actually, I start sharing my screen. Okay, you can all see my screen. So today we'll talk about 4 key topics in enlightened relationships. We'll talk about how relationships as a spiritual practice, how we can practice them as spiritual activities, and why women are closer to enlightenment, as well as how dissolving the collective female pain body, and how we can give up the relationship with self. So we are continuing the topic about enlightened relationships today. So we'll first look into the relationships and the spiritual practice. So that's the first subtopic we'll cover. So as a part of this, so I think, the order here is first trying to understand or first trying to emphasize on the fact that there are like so many people or like millions of people around the world who are either single because they could not comprehend or they could not completely consciously be alive in a relationships, or people who are still in a relationship but they are just trying to keep the relationship just to make sure they do not avoid, they want to avoid any social, excuse me, any social discomforts. So people who are compromising relationships that are compromised just to make sure they keep up to avoid any negativity, or millions of people who are alone or like a single partner or who are like a single parent. So I mean this is like a crisis. This crisis, it does not come. Like now in this crisis, the key thing is understanding the facts of the given situation, acknowledging and fully accepting. Accepting and acknowledging is primarily understanding that we need we need a space for transformation. Transformation is a change. Either it can be in both the partners or in the relationship itself for better, to enter into a graceful and more happy and more enlightened, lively state. So when we talk about relationships, they are not working. So whenever it brings out uneasiness or madness in a partner of you, I think the key thing is you also got to be glad. So what was unconscious in a relationship? If something is not working, it is brought to light. For example, when we say someone like, if there is anger, someone is trying to be anger or show their anger feeling, that's because they are angry inside. And all of this is primarily showing out their inner feelings. So once we know the reality of that moment and hold the knowing, hold what the other person is trying to express, that's when the relationship become more like a spiritual practice. So two things, right? Knowing what is happening in the moment and holding what the other person is trying to do. So this is how we can start thinking about and practicing relation now. And we do not want to unconsciously react when a situation like this comes up, because being in unconscious states, it takes away our ability to be in the moment. So if we continue to keep the goal of the relationships, and then we are still in an illusion, disillusion, thinking that everything is going to be perfect. The key thing how we can get is there is accepting that the relationships does have faults, and consciously getting or consciously agreeing to work or to improve on the existing relationship. And then there definitely will be moments, or in a relationship, there will be moments where there will be arguing. You try to connect or keep yourself connected with the mental position and defending not only the position, but you also want to defend yourself, which is nothing but your ego. That's when you become more unconscious, not really being conscious. So, how can we be more practice spiritually? How can we do that? So, the first thing is knowing how the other person is feeling. And when we are in a conscious state, we can understand and acknowledge according to that. The second way is give your partner space to express himself or herself and be present in that moment. Like accusing, attacking, all the sorts of mind related activities, make sure you give space, so that expression is the vital thing in a relationship. If someone is trying to curb their feelings in a relationship, that's not good. So expressing, that's the most important thing, expressing the feelings, and then the partner being more understanding and applying what they have learned. That is the key of practicing spiritual practice. So along with that, right, and also giving the freedom. For example, sometimes we see that the hostility could signal different things. A hostility could mean it can be mind identified, like we spoke, it can be an ego that can be eliminated by awakening ourselves and being in present. Or it can also be like a pain body. Someone is going through a pain and they are going through a burst of emotional pain in herself. So the greatest challenge for all of this is predominantly in a relationship. If you're consistently and predominantly present in a relationship. So this is going to eliminate all the problems. So third thing is being conscious and also being present at every moment. So that can help us to be more in a spiritual practice. Okay. I think, from a high level relationships and spiritual practice, the very quick high level overview. Now let's go one step deep and understand why women are closer more to enlightenment than when compared to men. So what is that women are like? What are the qualities and the features that enable women to be more closer to enlightenment? So if you think about it, many ancient cultures, they instinctively chose female figures as representation for the formless and transcendental reality. The female was chosen as that. The key reason is female or the divine mother has two aspects in life. She gives life, they give birth to child, and she also takes life. As we know, like female or goddess or Kali, they have an embodiment where they do remove the negativity or take life of someone. That's not like a devilish personality kind of thing. So they takes away life as well as they give life. So it's like the both qualities. But then let's understand how female is more inclined to get to be more enlightened, right? It depends on the qualities and the energy system. So the energy frequency of the mind, primarily, it appears to be essentially male. So mind has this frequency of resisting, fighting for control, then attacking, manipulating, and trying to grasp things or trying to possess someone. So that's why some of these qualities that are much more done with the mind and all of this, they are attributed to the qualities of a male. Then, like, what do we hear about women, right? So the deep qualities of surrender, non-judgment, openness that allows lives without resisting the life, and also the capacity to hold all things in loving nature and embrace everything. Like women by nature, they do have this ability to start showing their love and embracing things, even when they are very small, even when they are like small children, they have these qualities that are very natural to them. So primarily, right, they are trying to be more being in the energy, in the soft and yielding, but yet more powerful. So when compared to the mind energy and the being energy is what women are attributed to, mind energy is what men are attributed to. So when compared to the mind energy and the being energy, so being energy is considered to be softer, but it is considered to be more powerful than mind. Again, right, it's just men and female from a general perspective, but these need not be the exact attributes what are aligned to people. It can also be some men maybe having being energy more than mind energy. So when we see the difference in the qualities between both men and women, so the being energy is in charge of the planet. It's primarily in charge of the life on this planet and beyond. And being is very intelligent and whose manifestation is the physical universe. Although women are potentially closer to it, men can also have access to it. So, as a general rule, the major obstacle for men tends to be thinking mind because their qualities are associated with the mind. And the major obstacles for women are to be the pain body. So let's look into one step deeper of what we meant by pain body and how it impacts women's ability from an enlightenment perspective. So we look into how women can dissolve the collective pain body. And, I think pain body we read in chapter 5. Chapter 5 The other talked more about the pain body and how it works. So when you think about pain body, so a pain body is nothing but it's a collective as well as personal aspect. So collective in the sense, for example, a certain race or countries, there is an extreme forms of violence that have occurred, and then that creates pain body for most of the people living in there. That's like collective aspect. And personally also, people do have this pain body, like woman goes through her physical changes and childbirth and all of this childbirth and then child upbringing, child loss, and all of this for thousands of years. And woman's natural body changes that put her through pain body. But the key thing to understand is pain body is attributed to the past, something that already happened. It can either be the collective whole or an individual pain body. So it all happened in the past. So primarily, the more someone is in the pain, the more it's taken over. That gives them the ability to understand or force, being them forcefully to move away from unconscious state and being in a conscious state. So that's the reason the number of women who are approaching to be in the fully conscious state, it exceeds the number of men who are actually trying to do that. In this number, there is like a huge gap between the men and women who are trying to be in fully conscious state. And and next thing is the truth is that the only power there and it is contained within this moment. It is the power of your presence. So thinking about the past uh, doesn't give or any support about the pain body. So the only power in whole of this is thinking about the present and being in the present moment. And also, if mm, using the pain body for enlightenment instead of sitting and transmuting it into a consciousness state, like using the pain body to make sure they get into a higher states and higher levels. So any emotions that you take your presence into will quickly subside and become transmuted. So the key aspect is do not let the pain body use your mind and take over your thinking. You need to watch it and feel its energy directly inside your body. As you know, the full attention means fully accepting things. I think the full acceptance is really important and critical here. So dissolving the female's pain body is important by accepting it, by using the pain body for being in more conscious and enlightened state, and also by being by not worrying about the past, because pain body is considered to be the past, not just talking and thinking about it, but using its power to make sure they get more women or people can use the pain body to get more enlightened. Okay, that's great. Now we spoke about dissolving the pain body. So how can someone give up? Now, so we spoke about, like when we talk about relationships, four key aspects, right? Relationship with others, relationship between a male and a female relationship. Then we also spoke about the relationship in general, women as whole, and what are the challenges they face and how they can avoid from being in a pain body. Now getting to one more deeper relationship, which is most important for everyone, is relationship with yourself. That's the most important relationship we need to. So when one is fully conscious, does it mean do we really need a relationship? Or are we good? Are we good? Do we need anything else if we are fully conscious? So that's when the author is trying to complete, say, you are always one half, whether it's a male or a female, is one half of the whole. So this is always incomplete. So the whole world becomes, so just giving an analogy here, assuming the whole world is like a wave or ripples, comparing the whole world to ocean. If you imagine the whole world to be ocean, and there are waves and ripples on the surface of the ocean. So, and you can be considered as the ocean, you are also the ripples that are happening on the ocean. But a ripple that has realized its true identity as the ocean and compared to the vastness, the world of waves and ripples is not important. So, primarily distinguishing one from their consciousness, that is not so important if they understand that they are already conscious. So you can deep relate to this only if you're conscious of being in the present moment. If not, if you're dwelling in the past, or if you're dwelling in the, or if you are trying to understand or be in the future, but being in the present. But then we also spoke like how men and women are different. Now, when we talk a little bit holistically, how some people have more tendency to be conscious, right? That is because being an outsider to some extent, like someone who does not fit in or who get rejected by them for various reasons, makes that life difficult for them. But it also places you an advantage as far as enlightenment is concerned. So it takes you into an unconscious state almost by force. So by forcefully with some kind of unhappiness, acute unhappiness, folks are pushed to be more conscious. So acute unhappiness can be a great awakener. People can awaken from what they are thinking. Now let's look into the enlightened relationship with yourself. So first thing is, if you cannot be ease with yourself when you are alone, you always seek a relationship so that you can cover up the uneasiness. So that is the key thing, right? All you need to do to avoid this is accept this moment fully. You ought to be at ease right here, right now with yourself. That's the most important thing. So once you realize and once you accept yourself, so then you realize that there is no relationship with self. You have given up everything what you have, and all your relationships will be love relationships. There is no relationship with self. It's primarily mean like you're not attributing yourself to your mind. You're attributing yourself to being in the moment, and you're also trying to make sure you have all the relationships that you have will be love relationships rather than um, unconscious relationships. So this is a high level overview talking about enlightened relationships. We'll briefly look into the highlights after the meditation. It's about 26. So let's do meditation until around 5:55, 5:56. Then we'll do a quick overview on the highlights. That's that. I'll stop sharing. Please take off your glasses and close your eyes. Make sure you are completely relaxed. Slowly start observing your breath. Our breath is our guru. Be with yourself. Not just be with Master 5 minutes, masters. Last 2 minutes, masters. Be with your breath. Last 30 seconds. Last 10 seconds, Master. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring your hands towards your eyes. Slowly open your eyes and look at your palms. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to all the energies we received today. Thank you all, Masters. We'll quickly do a high-level overview of what are the highlights from today's session. Hopefully you can all see my screen. So from a highlights perspective, what we saw today is give your partner the space. So this is the highlights for enlightened relationships, day 17. So give your partner free space for expressing freely. Don't try to stop them or curb them. And there are two qualities: the quality of being, which is usually associated with female characteristics, but qualities of the energies of mind is associated to male qualities. Irrespective of the qualities and energy we have, being the power of presence, being in the present moment, it can dissolve the pain of any body, pain going through the body, and accepting fully what is happening now. It's really critical to make sure we have enlightened relationships, not with our partners, with others, but with ourselves as well, which is very key and most important. I think that's all with the highlights. Anyone would like to share any experience or any questions?
Thank you, Bharati Garu.
Thank you, Srilata. Thank you all masters for joining. And if you have no further questions, have a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Again, right? Try to practice at least one of the highlights. And just wanted to let you know, since yesterday we started making shorts. So for every day of the sessions, we are doing a quick 1 minute shorts and posting it. So probably we'll continue to do that for all the past sessions as well. Still that is in progress. But if you want to do a quick overview, a brief summary of what has happened, you can look in the channel for the shorts and you'll find more details. So thank you all and have a great day. We'll see you all again tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.